Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
Look, 2020 has proven to be the year of many things, and the same for 2022. But if you're a small business, this could also be the year you switch to a better payroll. Gusto wasn't just built for small businesses, it was built for the people behind them. Their online payroll is easy to use. Gusto can automatically calculate paychecks and file all your payroll taxes, which means you have more time to run your business. Plus, Gusto does way more than payroll. Gusto helps with time tracking, health insurance, 401ks, onboarding, commuter benefits, offer letters, access to HR experts. You get the idea. It's super easy to set up and get started. If you're moving from another provider, they can transfer all your data for you. It's no surprise that 94% of customers are likely to recommend Gusto. And here's the best part. Because you're a listener to this podcast, you get 3 months totally free. All you have to do is go to gusto.com/compliance. That's gusto.com/compliance. I'm telling you, you're going to love Gusto. Get started today. The Daily Compliance News for October 2, 2021, the Crazyiness in Ozyland edition. And we begin with that story about Oz, or Ozzy. Not Ozzy Newsome, not Ozzy Osbourne, but the media company Ozzy, who has had one heck of a week. Such a week that they are closing their doors. Literally 1 week after the story broke about their fraudulent attempt to raise money, the digital startup announced that it's closing its doors. I cannot remember a case where fraud caused a multi-million-dollar company to shut its doors within a week, but I think that tells you all you need to know about the fraudulent nature of Ozzy. Next up, also from the New York Times, what are the key takeaways from the 4th week of the Elizabeth Holmes trial? Well, jurors got their most detailed look yet at how the medical test from the failed blood testing startup were plagued with inaccuracies. The Theranos lab director emerged as a key witness for the prosecution. Dr. Adam Rosendorf, who led the Theranos lab up until 2014, testified that they could never get anything to work, including one test that was so inaccurate it lost any diagnostic value and led to numerous patient complaints. He testified that Elizabeth Holmes was well aware of the problem because he informed her of them. Next up, unlike the Trump Department of Justice, which was filled with political hacks and lackeys appointed by the Trump administration, the Biden Justice Department has promoted several career prosecutors to serve in key positions overseeing investigations of white-collar crime. On Friday, the DOJ took steps to solidify the leadership ranks of its criminal division and fraud section under the Assistant Attorney General. Lisa Miller is now serving as acting Deputy Assistant Attorney General for the criminal division, overseeing the fraud and appellate sections. She replaces Dan Kahn, who departed on Wednesday to rejoin his prior law firm of Davis Polk. The DOJ also appointed 2 deputy chiefs within the fraud section, Brent Wibble and Lorinda Laria. And finally, we conclude with a story about another fraudster, John Rigas, the cable television magnate who went to prison for fraud. He was part of the Adelphia Mafia clan who looted the country's 6th largest cable company, stealing approximately $3 billion from the U.S. public company. Of course, he never believed that he did anything wrong, which is pretty typical of a fraudster and blamed everyone but he and his sons, who were the ones who were looting the company. The sons all were convicted at trial, and it was a part of a raucous time when we had Enron, WorldCom, and Adelphia as three of the biggest fraud-laced companies in America. All of this, or at least Enron, WorldCom, led to Sarbanes-Oxley, and hopefully we'll have less fraud. Although, look at Ozzy. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.